Hello there, Des here again from GMIT Letterfrack, and welcome along to another of our SolidWorks tutorials. Just before we start, if you'd like more information on the degree programs we offer in furniture design, wood technology or teacher education, then please see our Facebook or Twitter pages. So in this video we're going to draw Santa's hat, a little festive edition of our tutorials. This is quite a complicated model to draw. It's going to incorporate the use of some quite complicated sketching and modelling features. So we're going to do some projecting geometry. We're going to do some quite advanced sweeps to get this white rim of the hat that actually changes profile as it transitions from the back to the front. We're going to have to set up a lot of planes and a lot of complex sketches to generate the main red portion of the hat. And we'll use a lofted surface and a surface thickened to actually generate that as a solid. And just before we apply the material appearances, we'll then do a revolve feature to get this bobble at the end of the hat. So let's begin. Now moving over to SolidWorks, we're going to begin with a sketch of a circle on the top plane. And I'll hit spacebar and normal 2. And I'll start at the origin and draw a circle. And smart dimension is to have a diameter of 200 millimeters. Now just before we begin, I want to set up a construction line that I can use to apply a plane later. So press the drop down arrow beside line and select center line. And draw a center line over here, make sure it's vertical. And just make sure that it is dimensioned away from the center of the circle, a value of 500 millimeters. So that's the first sketch, and if I rotate around you can see what we have. What I want to do now is go to Features, Reference Geometry and Plane, and I will select two references. The first reference will be the existing top plane, and the second reference will be that line, that center line, that construction line we just drew a moment ago. And now I can actually set the angle of this plane as well. So I can set that over here by activating this angle icon, and the value I want to put in is 175 degrees. Press the green tick to approve it, and there I have a plane. Now remember, the plane is infinite, so if I wish I can pick this point and I can drag it and make it longer, and there you have it. So by selecting that plane, I'm going to sketch, and let's just pick a circle or an arc for now just to open the sketch. I can draw on that plane. And what I want to do is hit the space bar and hit normal 2, and I want to trace around this circle. But unfortunately, because I'm looking at that slightly askewed, 5 degrees askewed, it's not actually a circle, it's a slightly distorted circle, an ellipse. So what I can do is project that existing circle, that sketch, onto this new plane, plane 1. So to do that, I will go to Convert Entities and simply click the circle and press the green tick. And you can see what's happened. That circle on the bottom of this case has projected itself onto that new plane. I'm actually finished with that plane now, so I'm going to right click it. I'll close the sketch first. Then I will right click it and hit visibility, and there you have it. So what I'm going to do now on the front plane, as it happens there, you can see where the front plane is. I'm going to draw a sketch of an ellipse. Hit spacebar, normal 2, and I'm going to start at the top of the ellipse around here somewhere and just drop it in approximately the right location for now. And then what I can do is by holding control, I can select, I'll just rotate it a little, I can hold control and select this point and this curve and apply a pierce relation. Hold control, select the bottom point and this bottom curve and apply a pierce relation. And of course I just want to fully define that, so let's go to Smart Dimension and let's set the width of that. In fact, I actually have to dimension it from the center, I believe. Oh no, it's working there. The width is going to be 24, and there we have it. So I now have what's necessary for my swept boss base. So let's apply it. Features, Swept boss base. I'm going to use this small ellipse as the profile and this base circle as the path. And you can see it sweeps that ellipse in a circular path and generates that shape. But I actually want that to get a little larger as it moves around. So what I can do is expand guide curves and select this top curve as a guide curve. And you can see as the sweep happens, as it applies or transitions from front to back, it follows that top curve, that guide curve. Now to start the main portion, the curved portion of the hat itself, we're going to begin by going to Features, Reference Geometry, Plane. And I'm going to select the top plane again and offset a plane up 25 mil, just so it's approximately somewhere in the center of the hat. And on that new plane, I'm going to start a sketch of a circle. And the size of this doesn't matter, but I've worked out mine to work at 190 mil diameter, just as long as it's within the solid itself. You can see the black outline of my circle is actually within the grey solid. So I'm finished with that plane, so I'll right click and hide it. And what I need now is something that will allow me to set up a series of sketches and a series of planes along the path or the curved shape of the hat. So to do that, on the front plane or the right plane, I think I'm actually going to use the right plane, it doesn't matter, I'm going to start a sketch of a spline. And it's very important that this spline starts somewhere within the hat like that, and I'm going to move up, and everywhere I pick a point is going to be the location of a plane later. So make sure you pick a number of points. In my case, I've picked 6, 7 points, but also position each point where you want a plane to be. That'll be more clear in a moment. Don't necessarily feel as if you have to get this very straight, because I want it to look organic and curved so it looks more realistic. So that spline is going to be the director of all the planes and sketches to follow. Now, I'm not given measurements for that because I want you to use your own design, your own initiative to get that look and the shape you want. So what we'll do now is go to Features, Reference Geometry and Plane. Select the spline. Be very careful not to pick a point on the spline. Pick the curvature of the spline and then a point on the spline. And press the green tick. It will put a plane normal to or 90 degrees to the spline at that point, which is very useful. So what I can do is start a sketch of a spline or a circle on the plane, spacebar, normal to, and I'm deliberately not going to draw a precise circle. I want it to look a little bit rough, I suppose is one of the words, but I don't want it to look like it's a perfect, unnatural looking circle. I want it to look like fabric. So you can just draw the spline and leave it a little bit jaggedy like that. When you've that done, right click the plane and hide it. And repeat the procedure. Features, Reference Geometry, Plane. Select the spline and select the point. Green tick it to close it. And now on that plane, start another sketch. Now here I am a few minutes later. What I've done since is I've added all of the planes and added a sketch on each plane. And just to show you, towards the end I started using circles instead of splines, just to speed myself up and just to get it a little bit more natural looking towards the end. You can see here you don't actually have to use every point on the spline. The spline itself is just there to give me a direction for all of those planes. When I'm finished with that spline, I can right click and hide it. Now that I have all those profiles, I'm going to go to Surfaces. By the way, if you don't see the Surfaces tab, select any other tab and make sure you turn on the Surfaces tab with a tick. But in Surfaces, go to Lofted Surface and start picking each of those profiles in turn. Now you can see those green dots. You can see it actually caused an error here, whereas here it actually caused what I want. I want slight little ripples in this. So here, if I want to get another ripple, I can just drag those green dots around a little and you can force those realistic creases or ripples in the texture or the fabric of the cloth. So move those around as you see fit. Up here it's gone a little bit too extreme, so I could drag this around to the front, and it just makes it a bit more realistic. Same thing here, drag that green vector around and drag that green one around as well. So there you have it. Press the green tick and you now have a shell, a zero thickness surface generating that portion of the hat. At this point, if you want to get any more creases or tweaks in the hat itself, I recommend you going into the surface loft feature and editing any of the sketches. For instance, I can right click this sketch, edit sketch, and I can tweak those points by dragging them in and out as I see fit. And there you have it. Now remember, this has zero thickness, this portion of the hat, so let's thicken it. This is a surface, so in the Surfaces tab, let's go to Thicken. Then click the surface and make sure you set it to a reasonable value. In this case, a value of 3 is fine, or 2. And if yours happens to look like this, if it thickens out the way, simply tick this third thickness option, thicken side 2. That thickens it into the middle. Press the green tick and there you have it. Now as it happens, I can see a nasty looking dent there in my hat. I'll just edit that again. So let's get that sketch, right click, edit, and I'm going to pull that point out like that. And you can see the model instantly updates. So I also see that sketch is visible. I want to hide that. So any sketch over here that's visible, right click and hide. So to finish this off, let's put the bauble on the end. This flat surface may or may not be a flat surface for you. Mine is, as it happens, but if it doesn't allow you to sketch on that flat surface, what you can do is go to Features, Reference Geometry and Plane, and select this outer circle. It will put a fresh plane on there for you. Now on that plane, I want to draw a semicircle. So I'm going to zoom in, and I'm not going to give dimensions for this. You can use whatever dimensions work for you. Just draw a line and an arc, then go to Features, Revolved Boss Base, and use that vertical line as the axis. Now that size looks okay, but if it's not, you can always click and drag that to make it a little bit smaller or bigger. So press the green tick to approve that, and there you have it. Now if I zoom in there, I can see plane 15 in my case is still visible. So let's right click that in the browser and hit hide. Now SolidWorks and PhotoView 360 come loaded with a number of appearances. They don't have appearances for fur, for instance, or an awful lot of fabrics. You can download them, but you typically need to have the full commercial license to do that. So what I'm going to do is go to Appearances, press the push pin to make it stay open, and what I found worked reasonably well were in Appearances, in Fabric, and in Cloth. This burgundy cotton worked well for the red portion of the hat, and the canvas worked reasonably well for the two white portions. Now you can experiment around with different colours and different shades yourself there, but that renders pretty okay as soon as you apply it. Now I actually haven't applied it to the inside, so let's apply it to the inside face as well. So there you have it. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a great Christmas. And if you want to find out more information about SolidWorks, then please see our GMIT Letterfrack YouTube channel, where you'll find a whole range of other tutorial videos.